Open up the February 18th sewer commissioners meeting. Elaine, aye.
Brian Donahoe, aye.
There's nobody on. Jean?
No.
Okay. Comes down to. I don't know how many times we talk about financials. I don't know if you two want to give us an update on at least what you've been doing. I know Kathleen had sent out a financial numbers for 25 and 26, and we focusing on 25. The 25 numbers supplied appear to be off because there was septage listed at $700,000 as revenue source, and there was some tweaking that needed to be done. So I'll turn it over to Dave and Jeannie because I know you've been looking at this stuff.
Yeah, I think every time we look at this, that we're pretty comfortable with our numbers coming through for usage. Through the water bills. So on that side, we're fine. On our septage revenue side, we're fine. We can easily track that. When I went through the numbers, Jeannie also went through the numbers. Elaine had gone through the numbers at one point. Probably multiple points. And Kathleen had also gone through the numbers. And each one working independently and grouping all our numbers together should be in your little package here. It is just a summary of how close we were on the three different assessments, let's say, for 2025 and 2026. So we have a range, whether it's Kathleen's, Elaine's, or myself and Jeannie's numbers. For 2025, if we look at our revenue, our septage, our total operating budget, if we subtract out all our numbers between our plant upgrade and the debt shortfall, so covering operational costs and the debt shortfall, we're showing somewhere in the range of 185,000 to 250,000. So at this point, I think we still need a little bit of clarity, and we might need, as we get a little closer to town meeting, to just adjust some numbers up or down. But I don't think they're going to change a whole lot based on what we're seeing so far. If anything, they're going to get better because what Jeannie and I have seen with the recent water department usage and rate increase numbers and increase in septage, I would think, like I say, these numbers are just going to get better for 2025, that shortfall is going to probably decrease by a bit. When we go out to 2026, that's when the leaching field debt comes into play. And when we play out our numbers on 25 and on 2026, we're actually, the three of us are a lot closer in our shortfall numbers, range between $386,000 and $390,000 at this point. So what I was hoping to do in the next couple of weeks is try and narrow down some things that continue to confuse me. I think Elaine's run into this, Jeannie's run into this. When you look at what we're going to get for betterment revenue, I believe Kathleen put these numbers together for FY 26, 27, all the way out to FY 37. Just some of the numbers seem to not make sense to me anyway. And I'll give you just a little bit of a, for instance, we got something from Ken referring to how much they're going to bill out this year. And it doesn't match up quite completely with the betterment revenues we're getting, but some of that might be all stuff that was prepaid for certain sections of our betterments. So I'd like to kind of narrow that piece down with Kathleen, just to see how it's all calculated, which buckets it in, and how are we coming up with these numbers, because they don't, they don't look, they don't look far off right now from what I would anticipate them to be in some of Elaine's numbers that she shared. But as you get down the line and get a few years out, it starts to get a little weird. So I think our position would be going forward, my recommendation is we look at FY 25 and 26 with the numbers we have. And going forward, we definitely have to get clarity on our betterment numbers and make sure that what we're planning on getting for revenue is actually gonna match up. And just to see the accounting side of it, to see that it all blends and makes sense, but Jean, if you want to add anything else to that.
So what I'm gonna do tomorrow is start compiling some reports to just see if I can go by charge code and track how it goes into the accounts and just see what's out there.
Okay,
We've found some things with doing project with Erin, just different things that we're finding that, you know, it's just like a block of like 3 or 4 years is interest when there should be interest on the whole loan unless there was some special agreement. Some not having any historical data, map and lot not being right. So there's a lot of different things that are going on. And I'm gonna put together a package to just show the, for instance,
okay,
like, so people can see what we're talking about.
okay. And our source documents are for the debt, the immunization schedules that we got from the state for the SRF loans. That's what we're using as our reference points for our
Yes.
debt numbers. For the discrepancies that seem to be appearing. Those, what we're using as a source document for that is a spreadsheet, a very comprehensive spreadsheet that was put together when the phase, at least phase 1 and 2 were put into place, that has the number of ERUs per property, the betterment amount per property, up until that point, what if the betterment was paid off. So it's more validating those 2 points, the system against this comprehensive spreadsheet. Okay,
And question, that particular expansion part represents all the additional betterments that the commission at the time, back in 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, was looking at, that when you referenced a lot of tank 3 was paid for,
right,
that's the number, that's the sheet. It's the reason what I'm making a link here is what you just said, dropping off in revenue, looking at betterments, and what you're saying should be at least through half of that should be paid for. You know, if they do what they're doing on the accounting, is stretching it out and paying it off, we should be 50% short of tank 4, right?
yeah,
And that's what we'd be trying to sell.
right,
Just make sure I'm clear on that, because that's, yeah, and then it doesn't include the tax levy piece that's not even considered.
right,
We should have that somewhere out here. For me, at least, that should be out here somehow, a satellite that explains 7 million roughly of revenue picking up that at this point, we hadn't been, I hadn't been thinking of.
right,
I'll blame myself.
And then ultimately what I want to do is to say, okay, this 1203, these are all the betterments that make up what should be in this revenue account, this betterment fund, and tie it going that way too.
Okay.
So,
no, that sounds good. And
Just the last point, just, I think that I've come up with, and basically all of us doing what we're doing. I have, I think we covered this last time, have a principal interest total that approximates $85 million.
wow,
And what I don't have a good handle on is what out of that is legitimately been either a grant or a forgiveness. I have some of those, but it doesn't come close to where I'm thinking it ought to be.
Okay,
But it just, so as I'm, coming at this different directions, and that's good. But it's the second set of eyes, the third set of eyes,
right,
because there's a hole there. And at 85 million, that's a good number. I think that's exactly what represents all the SRF loans, all the interest on top of it, spread out the entire project, $85 million capital cost project.
To a point that you had made, Elaine, is I think we feel pretty good about our amortization schedules. We know what the loan has for, historical, what was due year to year and what's due going forward. And those are things that are constant that always show up and there's no irregularities to it. But then when we look at the actual collection side of it, is it all being billed? Is it all coming in? What bucket is it in? And how do we make all that wrap around to match up that, yes, we do have enough to pay that debt going forward? Because I look at, some of these numbers where, the plant phase 1 and phase 2, the original plant structure should drop off somewhere around 2030. But when you look at what our betterment amount should be, after the plant drops off, it should just be the upgrade and the leaching field. So if
Correct.
you look at the betterments for the upgrade, say they're roughly 400,000, then we have a chart that shows that the betterments coming in those years are more in the lower 300 range instead of closer to 400. So where's the discrepancy? And, that's the stuff that we've got to kind of get into the nitty gritty on and see if we can at least make that whole.
So just to make sure I'm finished, you said that the betterments, what, 400,000? We anticipate that amount?
Somewhere in that range.
It's on this is.
what we have now.
Yes.
What we know is.
The customers we have now.
So that, again, that gets back to most of the people in the north and.
My apologies.
No worries.
Like Gardena or in phase 1, their amortization schedules are kind of like the 2030.
Mhm,
So
exactly.
all these new ones, that's all again, Route 3A, the mall, not the ag, big buy area, that whole thing. The skating rink,
Yeah, that's all phase 2.
yeah, so that's what you're talking about, that comes up with. We think that should be closer to 400,000, it's not, is that what I'm hearing?
No,
So what I'm getting at is right now, say we have more than half of the upgrade being paid for in benefits. It's what's that shortfall number? And it should at least get better year by year because even though we don't have a lot of new growth, there's still additional growth coming up. So that number should always get better. But I'm seeing a declining number when you look at the forecasted amounts going forward.
Is that because is that because the people who already paid the terminating are dropping off?
no.
No.
The plant, once phase 1 and phase 2 drop off, the plant expansion is round up is 750,
Coming up, they're crossing curves.
Yeah. and the plant
That's what I thought.
expansion's about 750. And we have, say, 350 paying customers towards that 750, leaving a shortfall of 400,000 for the plant expansion until we sell the capacity.
So that makes sense.
Take a
So
look at
that's-
those, take a look at those last 3 years. The only thing getting paid out on that far end should be plant upgrade and the leaching field. And the leaching fields don't come into play in that spreadsheet for betterments yet, because there's no betterments attached to it. So that's basically the plant upgrade on the tail end.
So that's gonna get worse.
And the betterments look like they're decreasing those last 3 years. So there's definitely some things we've got to look at, and we'll try to work with Kathleen to get some details.
And again, does that include that $56,000 that comes under the 1.2 or not? Because that's-
Right, so these are things we just want to gain some more knowledge on and try and wrap that up. I think it's gonna take a little bit to get into the weeds on that because it's such a, all the different phases and all the different loans and all the different properties involved with it. That's part of the problem. It's a lot of details to get into the weeds on a lot of these pieces, so. Assuming that our betterment number is something we're gonna assume that the numbers we've been given for 25 and 26 for our betterment revenue is accurate. As far as our revenue for user fees and consumption and septage, we have that nailed down pretty good. So we feel comfortable assuming that our betterment numbers coming into our department from outside are accurate. I think we run with these numbers for our FY 25 and FY 26 shortfalls, and we'll be where we need to be.
Yeah, we have available for the shortfall, it was $426,000 in retained earnings. That the calculations that Kathleen had put together before used 200,000 of that towards our operating budget this year. And that leaves another 226,000 available for a shortfall. And then none of us like doing this, but the free cash that was certified this past fall was 411,000. So if we utilize some of that, all of that, we have the 411 plus 226. That's $637,000 of available revenue to use towards 25 and 26 shortfalls without assessing anybody anything. It get us through the,
That's wonderful.
And
Right.
that doesn't. does
For the
that
FY
include Does that include the 1.6 million? feet?
No.
Okay,
no.
so
You-
that's, yeah, all right.
Do we somewhat agree? Because, and this is what we're gonna be confirming, but
Right, so I agree. And in the meantime, we'll be working on the betterment numbers to get a full piece of it and also looking at our assessments for the leaching fields.
Yeah.
And whether that happens to go through, how we address that will be a separate issue.
So just another related question, just an update. I haven't had a chance to talk to Erin, but she's going forward another week or so. Any update on more?
We've been finding different discrepancies and both of us looking into them and figuring out how did this happen, like what transpired, so that we have, that backup. And we're putting together the source document.
You know, it might be really helpful, as you go through this now, at the beginning, and we're starting to find this out, just kind of keep a tally. As you're going along, found this, it's a plus, I'm making this up, plus $10,000 in our favor. We found something that might be 10,000 in our favor all the time, whatever that is. Or we found it's negative. Just so we have an idea of what these do and if they cancel each other out or if they're all. That's exactly what you guys are trying
All
to
of
do.
the
just to
negatives.
Get a kind of an idea of, is this, I presume that this is finding money we don't know correctly where it is.
Right.
Or hasn't been collected or whatever. But I'd like to know that it's not plus or minus equals zero. It's rather plus and plus and plus, and there's a minus here once in a while. But it's plus, now it's $45,000, $50,000, $60,000. Bingo.
yeah,
Just to kind of keep a record, it doesn't be exact, but
yeah,
you give us, as a commission, just knowing, all of us actually, knowing where are we going with this, and then, make a decision on that, like, maybe we want to get a couple more people in here to help you, because the faster we find this out, now that we've been able to kind of break through this wall, let's not wait till September. Get,
Right. Right.
Put some more money into it and find out.
I mean, Erin's already on the second
Yeah.
book and she'll be going on the third. She did work
Oh,
extra
wow.
hours last week. And we're just working
Yeah, this is
together.
great.
I've been working on other stuff today. But I'm gonna compile all of the different issues that we have. And just work all that stuff out. I mean, it's a lot of work to try and backtrack and figure what's going on. We did find, which was a little bit disturbing to me, somebody paid off, a betterment in 2007. So there's a lien release from like 2001 for this property, but it wasn't paid off until 2007. So there's like discrepancies in lien releases and just a whole. So I don't know how that transpired, because the lien was put on, the lien was taken off in 2001. The new owner didn't pay it off until 2007, and then there's another lien release in 2007, so it doesn't make.
Well, when I came on board in 2004, there was a process going on that wasn't being managed by the wastewater department. That liens were being taken on and off. If someone was going to refinance, they took the lien off so they could refinance and not pay, and then they would put it back on again. Because I did an audit myself back when I came on board and found 6 properties that had not gotten the lien put back on again. So that could be some of what you're saying. We corrected them back in the day, but still, since then, there could have been some missed, so.
Right, and Erin and myself are both trying to look into the whole picture and try and say, okay, this doesn't make sense.
Right.
This doesn't make sense, and trying to link the.
And Elaine, just, now that you bring that up back then, I think I mentioned last meeting, when we quit.
Yes.
I'd love to, I started thinking about this more and more. I'd love to see the reconciliation in 2003, before I left. Did we collect those fines? Did they actually, did the betterment actually get, did they actually, because of the court order, take the betterment? Or did they somehow squirrel away with it, you know? It could be, I thought about this a lot. I was trying to find more of my notes. I mean, I get stuff like this thing. There has to be 150 of them. There's 150 people. If just 10 of them didn't actually pay the betterment, it's
Right.
$220,000 from 2004. Free. It's, you know, it's a lot of money. It's just, I started thinking, if you know, all the other things we were doing, I was using the perfect.
Right.
The tag tie-ins, the detail, all that stuff. But this stuff that was like out here in the court and away from it, like you just mentioned, that's why you brought up. It was not done by the commission.
Right,
Nobody knew about it.
right,
So what else did we know?
right.
Okay, just,
And the interest thing is disturbing to me too, because it's like, I want to say 2003 to 2007, there's only interest on those years, nothing before, nothing after.
yeah, this is a forensic
Yep.
audit. Where we at with.
I agree.
I just don't, you know, I just keep going back and thinking these things happen, and then it's 20 years ago now, 23 years ago.
Institutional
And
knowledge.
it just, I start thinking about it, I go, you know, I think I was going pretty good. And now, boom.
And it was based on what we knew.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure if I was watching everything going on, just, because it's important.
And
You
that's,
know,
that's it. And at this stage of the game, it's not whose fault is it? It's, let's just see what happened, fix what we can fix, and just put something in place that it doesn't happen again. I don't care who did what when.
Right.
No.
We're all human. There's
Right,
human error involved in every aspect of our lives. So it's more like you said, let's just figure out
Exactly.
where we
what
are
else are we gonna do?
and, you know, some of the past history on whether things were documented correctly, billed correctly,
Right.
and move forward. And
And we
That's a
should
really
put
good
together like a timeline of like, this happened.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't know what happened 25
Well-
years ago, and then you'd kind of piece it together, but it would be nice to have the story.
and that's where the 3 of us can contribute.
We don't want a human error that was, of whatever reason, happened then become a more complicated, compounded human error by not dealing with it honestly.
Right,
Yeah, just fix it.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts.
This is good.
We're figuring out a Rubik's Cube.
Do I need to share anything? Right?
So, our insurance company has a plant visit scheduled. And they sent me this, which I don't know where they got their numbers. If you take a look at it,
Well, on the floodplain, I can tell you that one.
from what I gather, they want to come in and just check out the plant, know the tank sizes, pumps, whether we have redundant pumps for different things. It sounds like they might want to look at some of the pump stations as well, knowing the horsepower and the generator, power of each generator at each station and all that sort
Are
of
some of
stuff.
those in the floodplains?
I would say nothing we have would be, well,
The pump
I mean,
One's
it's,
river.
yeah,
Yeah,
is
they-
that,
they all are.
that would be considered. So now you're talking,
If those get flooded, who pays the bill? The insurance company?
ocean flood, right?
Yeah.
Well, either way, but as
Yeah.
far as being in the
Oh, that's all
floodplain,
they really have is ocean. Jones River and Landing Road.
Are those covered under the insurance company policy?
I would imagine.
Okay,
So the way the town operates, from what I understand, is even though each individual piece of equipment might be insured for a certain value, that there's also almost like an umbrella policy that carries other events. So
you'll find.
I've never
you'll
really
Find
gotten-
out when they come in.
yeah, I've
Walk
never
through.
gotten really too deep on our insurance and how it's all factored in for the
In
town.
residential, they always have an outbuilding, it's a separate, issue, a separate value.
There is
But
no,
these are in floodplains, they're high risk.
there is no floodplain insurance that is done by anybody. There's no private flood insurance in the United States.
If you look, and like I say, I don't know where they got their numbers from, but
Yeah,
if you look
16
at
million,
it, the
17 million
building
basically.
value of 16 to 17 million and the contents to be somewhere in the 20,
That's what strikes me as, what are contents mean?
Contents.
I don't know.
I,
So I don't know if
Computers.
someone just threw a number in there and it's
office,
inaccurate.
office and office and office
I
equipment.
mean, the mosquito system, I forget.
Yeah, just one,
That's contents.
Yeah.
Unless that's a building on it.
just one set of 3 pumps. So, some of them,
Yeah.
just one pump alone would be worth that. Just one blower is worth,
I'm assuming that the
40,000,
17 million,
you know?
17
So-
million represents everything in the building, including pumps, the mechanicals, HVACs, concrete walls, bathrooms. But other value could be just personal content or business content, office staff, office stuff, and computers and
It's
so.
a good question to have them tell you what that means, just.
Yeah,
Do you have a date they're coming? Did you tell
The
us?
21st.
Oh, okay.
I think between 11 and 12. Yeah, I just found that interesting that the valuations.
Yeah.
This is the town insurance? So
Yes,
we, under umbrella, okay. You know
so
what
they were
carrier-
looking at, I'm sorry,
The carrier is?
no, Cabot was our insurance for the
The
plant
project,
upgrade
yeah.
while the project was going on.
Well, it's not, it's just.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
The town is, I mean, we have probably more value than even fire department, I think about it.
Yeah.
You check, like, all the
yeah.
EMT trucks.
Oh, yeah.
They don't come up with 6 million probably. Maybe. Maybe don't.
Yeah, a few years ago, that one of the Maya people came through just to walk around the plant and check it out. This one seems a little more like they want size of tanks and redundant pumps, generators, horsepower and all that sort of stuff. So we're putting a list together for them for Fridays.
what you stock on the shelves for emergencies.
Yeah.
Backup pumps. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Let us know what happened.
Yeah, they want to know like the age of the roof, electrical upgrades, things like that. So luckily with this upgrade, all that stuff was pretty much taken care of. So
Yeah, we got a lot of, things done with the upgrade that would have cost
Yeah.
millions of
Yeah,
dollars otherwise.
HVAC stuff, that roof would have been probably close to $1 million in itself, you know?
Yeah.
Well, still paying for it. Well,
Again, but not as an emergency situation,
Right, no,
which
that's
is
not
always,
And then one other update, I talked about one of our employees slipped and fell on the ice. He's still out on injury. He's waiting to get, the approval through the insurance company for an MRI. So at this point, we're in a holding pattern, and we're down another guy.
so what's that leave for staffing at the plant?
So right now we have Jordan, Dave, Carl, and myself.
Sorry, you want some part-time work?
you know something? My wife suggested it.
She wants to get ready, and does she?
Close to home.
No, no. I'd love to, I would be, I don't want to get help with what you're doing, and that's not gonna help you, we're already doing it now. I'm not going, I'm up past the day going down the nail, so. I can barely get on my truck sometimes, but, you know, all hands on deck.
So I was gonna look at getting the guys trained on some other stuff for our confined space entry. But I wanna wait till we have a full staff back.
Yeah,
so
makes
that we're-
sense.
We're a little more in line for that stuff and everyone's up to speed on it.
But on that point, I did talk with Dave a bit, just that we could, and so we're all on the same page, we could actually hire some people temporarily. There are potentially people through private companies that are certified, grade 6, 5, whatever you need. They could come in, and pay for them to pick up the shortfall, because as Dave's pointed out, and everyone knows it, it's never work. The more you stress the people who are left, the more chance they're gonna get hurt,
Right,
and that's what we don't wanna do. So you might wanna be looking at that, and I can check on it with Marie. Marie is what I was thinking about talking to. But just as a
I-
backup,
yeah, I think it's a good idea for
And I can check in with human resources. I know at one point we had Pete that left
yeah,
after he retired, had him come back for a short stint.
Yeah, there you go.
I
Think it's how it
can
works
even
there.
reach out to Bob or Pete or anyone, but I'd have to go through HR, whether we use someone from Maria or somewhere else.
I would think if you can do that. just
Or
to-
even a laborer just to help out for
Yeah.
now, because that's an empty position too.
I think
And these guys are trying to run the plant and dig out in these storms, plowing and shoveling all our lift stations. And it's cold and flu season. If one of these guys comes down with the flu, now we're down to 2 people.
it's not good.
So,
I mean, we don't need a motion necessarily, but I would suggest that
Yeah,
you just do whatever we have to do to get somebody, take the burden off. Short term at least, and maybe even long term to have somebody in case, like the flu or something.
Is laborer's position being advertised?
so that's something I need to address
Okay, yeah,
pretty soon. Because
at least you have another body.
I don't know if I need to get into it right now, but it's been a long time that position's been open. And I put in requests, multiple requests to move that ball forward. And
Okay.
it's very much not happening at the speed I'd like.
this is probably a good time. In order for us to discuss staffing issues, we would need to go into executive session. We just need to do the 48-hour posting. So, sometime this week, whatever, we can manage to have an executive session and just talk about what's been going on, what's been affecting the office and the plant, and see what we can come up with. So,
My schedule's pretty well open any evening.
so today's Tuesday, the earliest we could post would be tomorrow morning. So 48 hours it would have to be Friday,
Or the beginning next week.
Monday or something.
You guys just let me know.
Just Friday, I am open in the afternoon, like after 2. 1:30, 1:32. And Monday, I have same thing in the afternoon. I have a doctor's appointment in the morning. So Monday afternoon or Friday afternoon.
Would we be, would,
It's good for you.
either way, but I'll make it work. So what time Friday after 2?
After 2.
Could we,
1:30 would work. 1:30, I can get back from my meeting. I can be up in Braintree for a meeting.
would,
Noon time.
Friday, Monday evenings, does that work?
Monday
better for
evening
you?
would work, yep.
I can take time out, yeah.
I mean.
'Cause I work till
your
7.
Schedule seems pretty jammed.
I
up.
work till 7, so I have to take time off. Let me, we could,
Could we
is
do
fr-
it for the
Friday,
Tuesday meeting?
yeah, Tuesday would work. Do we want to wait that long? I mean, would Friday at 3:30 be okay?
Yeah, for me, yeah.
Okay,
Works.
Friday, 3:30, we have to find a location?
For me too.
No,
So yeah, I can find the location, 3:30.
yeah, and you have keys to this building if we come in here?
Yes.
Okay, so it's executive session. I'll give you the language that I
Yeah.
was given. And it doesn't have to be recorded or anything because it's executive session. So
It works for you.
3:30. Nobody working on my house that day.
So that's, what, the 21st, 22nd?
21st.
21st. Okay,
You said 3:30.
yeah. Okay, so we'll talk on Friday on that. Anything else, Dave?
I think that covers everything.
And, I'm working with Tom Casey for the closeout documents for the plan expansion, with, DEP, so I'm working on those
Okay.
documents.
On the survey, I will go after this, in a couple of weeks. See how we have that. I can survey. I can.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Costs about $250 to run a piece of equipment. Instead of 5,000.
Perfect.
Now, what's,
CDM did, it was 5,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me and whoever, I'll need someone to hold the rod. I may bring my son, my grandson.
oh,
Hold the rod.
I'll go up there and give you a hand too. So.
And I want to measure that 114 well again, just to make sure. It's rough, like 5 feet.
Mhm.
I think the well, might be, there's an old well, was in there.
Yeah,
I think it's a well problem.
that's quite a ways in the woods.
And we're just gonna do the top of the well.
Yep.
So that's gonna be.
Boy, you just keep saving the town money, Brian. You can put that on your talent. See how much Brian's been saving the wastewater. department all-
I know,
Tally sheet.
We're over 2 million.
I know, and climbing.
Hey, I'm not asking about it. I'm really.
Maybe we can catch up to him by doing this assessment with,
As long as there's a princess. Just
That's all I had. I don't have anything
I'm good
else.
too, no, it's-
Yeah, well, last time, sorry, I did talk to Ben, all the rest of those plans that we were, that we need, he's doing them now
okay.
in the brochure. And I sent you all the brochure that, Infiltrator did, a copy. of
oh,
it.
yeah.
I hung it on the door.
You all got a copy of that. Got the plan.
Mhm.
I don't know if they did. I don't think I could open it up.
I think maybe that was,
This guy here.
No, I didn't get it.
they did that
There was
brochure.
one of them I couldn't open up.
Okay.
You
Thank
can
you.
keep
That's the
that.
brochure they sent us.
You can keep it.
Yeah, I got a bunch of it. Nice.
Wow.
Is that a dog?
All those little filter soldiers all lined up. Ready to take care of our.
Jeannie, you have anything?
Good.
Bill?
I'm going to motion to adjourn.
Yep.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.